Welcome to today's session, ladies.
Welcome. Hello. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. We're really good at thank yous, guys.
We're here. It's raining.
Yeah.
Yes.
What's that about?
I know. We're not used to it.
Now, our plan today is to make the best video we've ever made.
Ever.
Great. Excellent.
No pressure.
Hyperboles of intimidation.
Now, I'm not sure where I'm going with this, but we don't know where you're going. We don't know where you're going.
We have no idea.
No.
So we don't know where we're going.
No.
It's going to be good.
Yes?
It's
Yes.
going to be good. So I think without further ado, we won't even do a blue steel. I think we'll just actually start.
I think we should just start.
Okay, ready? I'm going to start with scripture. You ready? Buckle up, princess.
Yep.
Sure.
1 Samuel 22 verses... Good Lord.
You want your glasses?
This says it's verse 1 to 22, but
Ooh.
Woohoo!
settle down.
We may be here a while.
We won't be doing all that. So all I'll say is this: 1 Samuel chapter 22, a couple of verses. Ready?
Ready.
Now, why I'm reading this out is because I watched a video this week of a dude teaching. The first 20 minutes, I really enjoyed the first 20 minutes. So this is what he was saying. So I thought it applied to us here and to folk all over the place. David therefore departed from there and escaped to the cave of Adullam. Now this is when he'd been anointed to be king, but he wasn't king. Saul was king. That's the setting. He's on the run because turns out he's anointed and it's annoying everybody, especially the previous king, who's still the king. So then when his brothers and all his father's house heard it, they went down to there. And then, so that's the setting. So he's been serving faithfully. The previous order's upset with him. How dare you say you're more anointed than we are?
Yeah.
Actually, not even say it. How dare you be more anointed
He's
than
too
we
awesome.
are? So that's annoying. Always goes well. Okay. So that's the setting. And he said a prophecy saying he's going to be king. So the setting is third day, apostolic reformation, you people individually, armed with heaps of prophetic promises saying it's going to be awesome, going to be wonderful, going to be the day of the Lord, going to be incredible. And then we see God's cunning plan. We get the prophecy,
Yeah.
and then we get the cave.
We get super excited.
Super excited.
And then we go, where are we off to?
Where are we off to?
La 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 la.
Starts with A, ends with Off to the cave. And so we go to the cave. But don't worry. The cave's a place where he's going to develop us so we can actually walk out a prophetic purpose. So
Shouldn't take long.
I don't think so.
No.
The guy I listened to, it's only taken him about 40, 45 years. And they're excited. Us, we've been way faster.
25?
24, 25.
Yeah.
So, you got the picture?
Speedy.
So this is what's happening globally. There's a new order on the planet. The old order's going, don't you come here and tell us you're more anointed, or don't you be more anointed than us. We're the business. And they were, and they are, but they won't be. It's not good news.
No, it's not good news.
There's a new order coming, okay? So there's David, and then this guy's teaching all this stuff, and he goes, but not to worry. In the cave, something awesome's going to happen. You know what's going to happen? God's going to send him his army. He's so excited.
Awesome.
Oh my God, I'm going to get an army to help me be on the throne. And so the Lord sends him his army. They're in three categories. Everyone who was in distress.
Solid.
It means like he'd looked through the whole of Israel. Anyone in distress? You're in the army. So they come.
Yes.
That's only a third. So we're going to be okay.
Okay.
Next category, everyone who was in debt. All the people without money. You come.
Perfect.
You come. So we got the
Lovely.
distressed people and the people without money. And then we got my favourite group. Everyone who was discontented.
Ah.
So the
Mr. Negatives.
Mr. Whingy Moan Murmur.
And the broke people who can't help fund the army at all.
No, there's no funding.
In actual fact, we probably need to hide them from the debt collectors.
Yes.
You're going to have to fund them. Going to have to fund this yourself. So,
Yes. Super frustrated.
Sounding like a
group.
great army.
so distress. Everyone will know this. Who's a student of the Bible, is the Hebrew word mistake.
Sounded German.
Sounds like mistake. It's MAUTSOKE. You know, when your language looks like a password, time to get a new language. And it means the people in distress, they were people that were in a narrow place, confined or disability, anguish, distress, straightness.
Perfect position to be ready for change.
No wonder they were being sent to a cave.
Nobody else wanted them.
Let's just shoo you off into the cave.
And it's like, but
the
like,
darkness.
the serious part of this is, we had a word years ago when I think we were in the States, and the guy said, we're going to send you all the people, which is embarrassing for you guys, we're going to send you all the people that nobody else wants.
I knew we were going in this direction.
And I'm thinking,
Did feel a bit unwanted,
and
really.
I'm thinking, cool, because we weren't wanted,
No.
and then all the people we got weren't wanted.
No.
But what was worse, they were from a narrow place, they were confined, they had disabilities, they had anguish, distress and straightness. So this was an encouraging word, because this was God's
Thanks,
plan.
yes.
Because we just think, oh no, turns out we are just like, you know, a bit whatever. And then the discontented is also a Hebrew word. Oh, interesting. Mara. We all know it. Yeah, bitter. Mara from the book of Ruth. When the move of God in you gets bitter, means bitter, bitterness, bitterly, anger, angry, bitter, chafed, discontented, great, heavy. I mean, like,
I don't associate.
Pick one.
I don't get what you're
all
going
I'll
with.
say for the
Pick one,
camera,
pick one.
all I'll say is, you were the first person God sent.
I still don't understand the point of your message here, Mike. I don't get it.
Now, I was super encouraged, because when you gather with a group like that, it doesn't look flash.
No.
It doesn't, and like, it doesn't look flash to you, and it doesn't look flash to the onlookers. Oh, well, these guys are. And the other idea with this is, any great move of God, normally you have to go over the wall, outside the existing structure, you know, and that's how God does stuff. And so you go over the wall, and you get with all the people that nobody wants, and that's God's plan. So I thought that was super encouraging. I was crying when I was listening, thinking, that's our group.
Hey.
But in saying that,
But all,
when we, what?
all those things were to do with not fitting in the previous order. Well, we weren't made for that previous order anyway, so that's why. All
Don't
those things...
jump down the story.
Oh, okay.
Back
It's
up.
exciting.
Back up. Because,
Thanks, Hannah. It's good to
listen,
know where he's going.
you said this group didn't fit in the previous order.
Yeah.
They didn't. You know where they fit? Nowhere. They don't even fit in the new order.
They don't know where they fit.
Nobody wants these people.
Nobody wants
You know,
these
and the
people.
thing is, do I want them as a leader? Of course I did.
No.
But I didn't want them, because I didn't want me to be like that.
Yeah.
I didn't want me to be like that. So you get all these people, and you go, God, seriously? I said to him ages ago when we started, I said, if it had been me, I would have gone
Great way to start.
flash building, 10,000 people, heaps of money, then they'll listen. And God goes, interesting call, good concept. What about the opposite? What about broke, distressed, bitter, anguish, hit the wall people? And I'm thinking,
Imagine what these people could do.
I'm going, awesome. Now, why I started weeping, because and then we've been doing this for 20 plus years, and like, we didn't all stay like that, like quite quickly, within about 23 years.
It was just temporary. It's a temporary state of being.
People morphed out of that state. And
And are still.
what we began to see was the awesomeness, the awesomeness of the potential in people. So, you know, it's a bit like the whole Gideon, you're a mighty man of valor, and he's broken and distressed in anguish, terrified. And I wrote that on my diary yesterday. It's almost like when God calls something, it's the polar opposite. And we did the whole thing last week of looking in the mirror and seeing God's images, and often God's saying things that aren't actually earthed or a reality yet. So this is this group of people. So I got excited because I think all the people that we sent, I could see amazing in all of them, including myself eventually. And so I wasn't. Then you don't worry about all that stuff because you see potential.
Do you think it would have been also harder for you to see the awesomeness in people? And I don't just mean you. I mean, I know for me, I've learnt to see the awesome in people.
Yeah.
The more God's worked on me.
Yeah.
I think if I hadn't had that work done, I'd be blind.
No. At the start, you want. You
like appreciate different things than what you used to.
Well, you go through the process yourself, and you realise everybody else is going through the same process. And so we're all in the cave, not because we've done anything wrong, but because God's up to something. And God's ways, unfortunately, are not our ways.
And you start to see the good in what everybody else thinks is just a bad way to go.
But how cool is this? This is super
cool.
encouraging.
I actually really like that.
It's super encouraging. So I listened to this and I was crying. My spirit was weeping. I go, man, because for me it's historical. Yeah, that's what happened to us. It's happening globally to people because
cave people.
The new wine is not for the old wineskin. You've got to come out of the old system. And so the first people that come out of the old wineskin are the people the old wineskin don't want.
Shoot.
So they're always the first candidates for the next thing. Those that have hit the wall, that are broken. When we got this new revelation, we were going, we give up. We can't do it. We got nothing. Anyway, so that's all that. That was cool. And then he goes on to say, he said, this guy that he was going, I've done a lot of historical study, and I've looked at all sorts of commentaries and commentators and read all the different reports and all people's insight into this. He said, those 400 Israelites were in bondage for 400 years. The judges judged for 400 years. The kingdom was divided for 400 years. There was 400 years silence between Malachi until Jesus was born. The ministry of the prophets was about 400 years. The Bible is clear that God considers 400 years a spiritually significant time period. Listen to this. Whenever God wanted to prepare a nation for his purposes, he took 400 years or 400 people. So interesting.
Let's do the people one. I don't want to be doing this for 400 years.
So anyway,
I feel like I'll age.
So you got this, and it wasn't 400 because there was David's whānau, the family, the crew. But it was 400 people gathered to him. And it said they made David their captain, their king. Now, reversed back with the other thought I had, and this guy's talking about, these guys became the mighty men. I started weeping because he said they became David's mighty men. And they said all the historians that he's read and all these books and all the study he's done himself and all these bits and pieces, perhaps the premier fighting force ever on the planet as a group of people, what they could do, what they were capable of, how much one person could do. They could jump in pits with lions and slay them. I mean, they could kill hundreds of people on their own and fight until their hand was stuck to their weapon and they couldn't unclench their fingers and they'd keep going.
Wow.
Something happened in this cave, and these rubbish-looking group of people became the premier force on the planet. They were unstoppable, David's mighty men. Now,
that's a movie plot.
It is a movie plot. And so just setting this up, so I'm thinking about that. I think it's awesome because one of my major avenues is this massive move of the Spirit that we're experiencing. It's not for those that's got a big hitch in their step, look at me. It's for those that have been broken, the meek, and it's these guys in the cave. They committed themselves to David, and they said, it's all about you. It's not about me. They didn't go, look at me, look at my ministry, look how many I've slain, look how many I've done, all this. And they did, their feats are recorded in detail. But they weren't about that. David wants a drink of water. They go and break through a host, 3 of them, to give him a drink of water. They bring it back. He tips it out and says, that's too much commitment. Too much. The other one that broke my heart with David's mind, they would do anything for David. So to me, David's a picture of Jesus. This group of people are so caught up with Jesus that they lose sight of it being about them. And that whole selfish, egotistical, me, my ministry, look what I'm doing, that wasn't in their camp. David got involved in a greater purpose. So like people go, the mighty men, and I've heard sermons on mighty men since, forever. I'm not interested in being a mighty man personally, but I'm interested in having the mighty man stand up in me, because I'm not about that. I wouldn't cross the road to make someone a mighty man, but Jesus can stand up in the people and make them the mighty man on the planet. I'm all about that. I'm not all about, if people start projecting and advertising and getting big in themselves, I lose interest real quick. Not in them as
It's
a
more
person,
like
but that spirit.
The purpose is one.
Yeah. It becomes about somebody else. It's not about you.
You all have the same purpose, which is the one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not self-centered. And so that's an amazing group of people. And they went, and then they left, they went to another place, which I've written down, we won't go into there. But this probably one of the saddest stories in the Bible. I was just reading away one day. I've shared this before, but not for a while. And David, it was the time when kings go to war. He didn't go, but his mighty men went. At this point, it stops being about Jesus and it does start being about David. Mm-hmm. And they go because they're more faithful than their leader. They go out, and David's at home, and he sees Bathsheba. He goes, man, awesome, And so, who is she? And they go, oh, she's the wife of Uriah the Hittite. And so he engineers things, you know how the story goes, and hooks up with her, and he tries to cover his tracks by inviting Uriah the Hittite back from the battle. And he goes, come back from the battle, wines and dines him, go home. So if there's going to be any offspring produced, it could be Uriah's. And so next day Uriah comes back and he goes, how did it go? And he goes, I can't go to my house while the boys are fighting. I slept on the doorstep. David's going, oh no. How much integrity. He was one of the distressed, broken, discontented. How did he get to that point? So he was not only faithful to David, he was faithful to his brothers in the cause. So he goes back to the battle, and then David does this big proclamation which got him in heaps of trouble with the Lord. He goes to the general, put him at the front of the battle. When it's on, pull back from him, so he's killed. And he was, which is a sad story.
It's a horrible story.
Horrible story. And then I was reading in another place one day, and it went through, and these are David's mighty men. He listed them. This is the 30, and these didn't put the top. And they ranked them. Yeah. And I'll go down and go, Uriah the Hittite. He wasn't just nobody. He was one of the mighty men. That broke my heart. That broke God's heart. I think it did David immense damage. And that's when the New Order leadership betrayed the people who are proving to be more faithful than they are. So we've had all sorts of things happen with that. But the quality of this people and their roots are distressed, discontented, and broke. We watched a video the other day. My boy Sam came out, my oldest son comes out, and he goes, Dad, watch this video. And it was about El Salvador.
That's good.
And this young guy, I don't know how old he'd be, the president or the prime minister.
I reckon he looked like
40?
Yeah, like early 40s.
At the most.
Yeah.
And he's there, and he goes, El Salvador, he goes, most dangerous country on the planet, murder capital of the world, more murders in El Salvador than anywhere else, blah, 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 blah. Worst place to be, you don't want to be there. Everybody, a third of the population have fled the country. It's just horrible. He goes, we turned it around 3 weeks. Now it's the safest place in the Western Hemisphere. Our capital is the safest capital. And the interviewer's going,
It's amazing.
3 weeks? How do you turn a nation around in 3 weeks? He says, well, we had a cabinet meeting, and we devised a five-phase plan to sort it out. And as we were doing it, we stopped and we said, Father, God, because there's already been 87 murders, help us. We don't want all these civilian casualties. We've got 70,000 gang members. Can you do something? So he said, so within 3 weeks, all the gang members were captive, no more civilian casualties. We turned the nation around and said, because for a nation to be successful, the first thing you've got to do is have peace. Yeah. And for us to be successful, for this army, the first thing they have to do to be successful is have peace. So the distress, the discontent, the brokenness, all that has to go in peace has to come, then you can build. And so they go, how do you do it? He said, it was a miracle God did it. He turned a nation around in 3 weeks.
It was cool too, because I think he goes, the official story is we came up with a 3-step plan or 5-step plan, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, but do you want the unofficial story? And the guy goes, yeah. And he goes, it's a miracle.
It's a miracle. So cool. So cool. Yeah. But see, like, that's a picture of this. These guys shouldn't have been successful. They became that became the kingdom. These guys in El Salvador. So it's like God can turn things around, and like God can use the most. He almost delights to use the most unlikely sources. So I just thought it was encouragement for us, encouragement for his people that watch, and different people out there that you think you've hit a wall, you think you're rubbish, you think you're off scourings, you think you're put out of the camp, you think nobody wants you, and God's going, I've got my man. Because that look at me, look what we're doing spirit that can be in the ministry, that can't be in this one. And then what's happened even in the third day stuff, when guys get it and they start off broken and then they get a bit of game, they get some money, get some finance, get some success, and that little hitch comes back in your step, that's doomed for it. That's not going to last, because God won't sanction that. This has got to be a different spirit. I watch it in myself, I watch it with people. You can almost, now, when you're sensitive, I can just smell it. I'll watch a video and I'll be watching it, good, I'm out. Because I don't want to buy into that spirit anymore. But I just thought that was super encouraging.
It is.
There's amazing people out there, and they don't always come from an amazing place.
I think the majority of people out there are broken, distressed, broke. Like, I think it's actually a small minority that have it all together, or think they've got it all together. You know what I mean? This world is full of, of the people that would have been in that cave.
Yeah.
And it's those people that Jesus hung out with.
Yeah.
It's those people that Jesus met and had time for, because they're real and like perfect for him,
Yeah. Yes.
So, in the cave, Deb, they learnt their I ams. They learnt what they weren't, and they learnt what they were.
They have to.
Nice.
Can you tell me about the I ams?
Why, thank you, Mike. Yes, I can. So I watched the video last week.
Yes.
And you had a challenge, what are your I ams?
Yeah.
Do you know, I probably knew off the bat maybe 2.
Really?
Yep. And then I spent time with the Lord, and he flooded my head with all the others.
Yeah.
Which was really cool, but also like pretty destroying in a good way.
Yeah.
I was on the
It's a bit much
on
sometimes.
my knees in my caravan in the end, just being like, wow. Because, and this is, I think, it's not about you, it's about him.
What he's
so
done.
even though it's your I ams are all about him.
Yeah.
He gave them to you.
He gave them to me.
Yeah.
He gave them to me when he birthed me,
Yeah.
Yeah.
as my creator, which it makes me emotional. So I'm going to start by reading them out. It looks like there's a lot, but it's just because they take up
You
chunks.
said you thought of 2 off the bat. I could have thought of 3 or 4 off the bat for you without even trying. But
Well, maybe you should tell me those later and I'll add them to this.
Jolly Green Giant?
What? No?
No?
No.
Oh, maybe you should continue.
So, I guess I should start with, and I never really talk about this much, and that's my man in the mirror.
Oh.
Which-
Oh, no, please don't talk about that.
So my man in the mirror is that I'm ugly inside and out.
Yeah.
and that when people or anyone gets to know me, they realise that and are put off.
Yeah.
And that was separating me from the Lord, like, hardcore.
Yeah.
Because I even felt like, Lord, don't get too close because you're not going to like what's in here, you know. So I repented of that. And then when I asked the Lord what my essence was, what I brought into a room, he said fire, which Hannah stole.
Hannah's got red hair.
Yeah.
You're more legit fire.
There's a lot of fire going on.
And one of the fires,
Ordinary.
because fire is lots of things, one of the fires I am is refiner's fire. And set apart for him.
Hold it. So we're starting the list now?
Yep.
Go.
I'm his reflection, because for a refiner to know that it's done, they look in and they see their reflection. He said, I'm a beautiful breakthrough, called to set captives free.
Oh, I like that one.
Going after the lost sheep.
Oh, I love that, Deb.
Nice.
He said...
That's been happening, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Isn't that cool? You
That's
didn't
so
you
cool.
didn't know that 24
that was
years
one
ago?
of the ones I knew now, but no, 24 years ago I had no clue.
No clue.
No clue.
I love that one.
I am a carrier of his joy. This day is holy to our God. Do not grieve, for the joy of the Lord is my strength. Nehemiah 8 verses 10.
Yeah, that is true.
I'm his cupcake.
I haven't heard that one before.
Mike was the one that told me that when he prayed for me one day. He said to the Lord, "Who is Deb?" And the Lord said to him, "She's my cupcake."
Yeah, actually, the only person he's ever told me that about.
And I was like, I'm his cupcake with a cherry on top. Or, as I like to think of it, I'm his favourite.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can disagree, but that's true.
I think he's been telling everybody this.
Well, that's what I did to my
on?
children. I used to tell them all, don't tell anyone, but you're my favourite. And then they all used to be like, and one day, I remember Lily going, Mum, you really need to stop saying that. What if the others hear? And then, so then I decided it was time to come clean. So I just started telling all of them they were my favourite in front of each other. And they were like,
Way to ruin their world.
I know.
Hannah, you're one of my favourites.
Well, my dad always used to say growing up, you're my favourite daughter.
Yeah.
I'm the only daughter, so. I'm my father's daughter.
Yeah.
I am perfectly unconventional.
Because there's more to that, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's a lot behind that statement.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is. Which I didn't. I like. Basically, a while ago, the Lord gave me an opportunity to either go after a lost sheep or not. I didn't have to. It was okay if I didn't. And I had the choice, and I chose to do it. And at the end, when I'd made that choice, and I looked at the Lord, he was grinning at me, and he said, like father, like daughter.
Yeah.
Which, again, destroyed me.
Yeah.
In a good way.
And repeat that one, because I love that one.
I am perfectly unconventional.
Yeah.
We don't need to remember that.
You were brought up in such a conventional way.
I was.
How'd that go for you?
I spent my entire life trying to fit my round peg in a square hole.
Yeah.
And feeling so bad that I never did.
Yeah.
And thinking there was something wrong with me. And when I flipped it around finally and thought, no, why? This is who I am. The freedom.
It takes a while, doesn't it? If you'd have read
Really
1 Samuel
long time.
22, you would have...
I am one of those misfits in the cave.
But, I mean, that process, that takes some time.
It takes a long time, but once you get it...
And you're legit.
It sets you free.
Yeah.
It sets you so free because you're like, I've been my whole life thinking I was off. I was slightly wrong, or I was like just a little bit, or I was not in the will of the Lord. And all along, I was fighting who God made me.
So you were outside the camp, wanting to be in.
All the time.
Not realising you were made to be out.
Yeah.
Tricky.
And then love is all you need. I am the Father's heart, full of his unconditional love. His always learning to love more. Love me more. Love others more, but mostly loving him more.
Yeah.
There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out all fear, which Paula said last week.
Yeah.
It's one of the verses that God's spoken to me a lot with. And then, be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid, do not panic before them, for the Lord your God will personally go ahead of you. He will neither fail you nor abandon you. Deuteronomy 31:6. I'm brazenly bold. And brazenly means in a bold and shameless way. I'm pretty shameless. Pretty shameless. And bold can sometimes look like cray-cray.
Yes, yes it can.
I was talking to my brother and
So this is not stuff. We used to try and water this down.
Yeah.
I was going,
Yeah.
no, don't water it down.
Don't water it
So
down.
much watering down
That's
goes
where
on.
you're powerful.
Yeah.
I was
They
talking
do
to...
that to the Holy Spirit.
I know.
Calm down, Holy Spirit, calm down.
Yeah, that's a bit too much, too extreme.
You've had your hour.
He gets an hour.
Well, not a lot, actually. Not a lot.
I was talking to my brother and sister-in-law yesterday, and my brother David was like, it was so like you took a massive step of faith, and it didn't make a lot of sense. To be honest, to us, we were like, what is she doing? Moving to the top of the South Island, you know?
Cray-cray.
But you were saying it was the Lord, and so we backed you, and they did. They really did. They supported me and
Didn't
backed
they
me.
gave you some money, didn't they?
Yep.
Yeah.
And then he goes, but look, see what's happening? Like you're landing on your feet. Didn't feel like that at the time when I first got here, but
No.
But feet were in the picture.
my very sore feet were definitely in the picture.
Yes.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And then I am his lightning and his thunder.
Yeah.
I am meant for the supernatural, a vessel for his power. I am born to shine his glory. And then I've just put here, until we agree with him, it stops so much. It
Yeah.
halts all progress.
Yeah.
It delays our future. It binds us up. It holds us back. It robs us of our peace and clarity. It erodes our soul. Stops us hearing him. Stops us seeing him.
Yeah.
Who are the sons of God? That's what he asked me last night.
Yeah.
Who? Who are they? Who are you?
Yeah.
And I am my beloved's and he is mine. Song of Solomon 6:3. I'm his. Start there. And I guess this is for everyone.
Yeah.
If you're struggling to understand who you are, or you don't know what your I ams are, start with, I am my beloved's and he is mine. You are his, but what names has he given you? When you were born in him, your creator. Because he does have a name for you. Are you in the delay? Are you waiting and it seems unbearable? Frustrated with your relationship with Jesus? Struggling to hear your Father's voice? Struggling to love yourself? Judging or struggling to love others? Then start agreeing.
Yeah.
Agreement is like one of the most powerful things that you can do with him. Start agreeing with what he has named you. Agree with what he is saying about you. The word agree is to have the same opinion.
Yeah.
Agreement is harmony or accordance in opinion or feeling. Or a binding agreement is a contract where two parties agree on the course of action. Like, we've got to start agreeing. And, like, I knew that, but after the last few weeks, I've heard it, and something's just gone click, and I'm like, oh, it's like how I moved down here. I finally agreed, that's right, I need to be down here. Not later, not in a year's time, not in 2 years' time, I need to go, because God's told me to go. So I agree, Lord, and then boom, 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 it's all happened. Not the easiest journey, it doesn't make everything go perfect, but since I've been down here, and the speed wobbles have kind of calmed down, now it's easy. Because I agreed with him.
Because I wrote down here, like, because I think it's what was happening was it started to make sense. Like, the understanding was there.
Yeah.
And then, like, without understanding, you lose the strength of agreement.
Yeah.
But the agreement grew stronger because you started to understand it.
True,
Yeah.
true. See,
So
like
true.
that last week, that I said last week that this looking in the mirror and seeing what he's saying and agreeing with it, that's actually the only way forward.
Yeah. It's the only way forward. You can't do anything else.
And you say, I got lots, but the more defined it is, the better.
Yeah.
I thought that there, what you said, when Sam edits it, I'm going to try and get him to, if he can put that to roll up on the screen. That is gold. And that statement there, I love those statements.
Yeah.
Can you read that one out again?
Yep. Until we agree with him, it stops so much. It halts all progress. It delays our future. It binds us up, holds us back, robs us of our peace and clarity, and erodes our soul. Stops us hearing him, stops us seeing him. Who are the sons of God?
Yeah.
Who are you?
That's gold, Deb. That's awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then,
I thought I was pretty good at the start, but I think now that's...
Well,
Advantage receiver.
I think what it is I've taken what you've said and gone, so this is what happens in the cave.
Yeah.
This is what happens in the cave. And the reason why they could then go out as the mighty men is they agreed. They agreed that they were a mighty men.
Yeah.
You know, they agreed they knew who they were by the time they left that cave. There's power in agreement with the Lord. It's a powerful thing.
I just had a little thing this morning, they're in the cave, and then the prophet came to him and said to them, you need to get out of the cave and go here. And they went into Judah, and they went into a forest, and I looked it up, and it means to engrave, an engraving or engrave. And I said, Lord, what's the story here? He said, you can write something on people, but it can rub off or fade. But you engrave something on you engrave this into people. It's there forever.
In their hearts and minds.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
Praise the Lord. It's good.
So that was my bit.
This is getting cut into.
It's called
like simple stuff that we've known for years even.
Yeah.
But it's
Suddenly the penny's dropping,
yeah,
eh?
and you go,
Of
so
course.
when you said that, I thought, yes, that's exactly what I've been feeling's been happening with all of us.
Yeah.
The last couple of weeks or so.
You
Yeah.
have to bring us out in the middle of nowhere.
I can't see that,
That's
Pat.
right. Those are my eyes.
Ah.
And we have to get away from all the distractions. Come somewhere quiet, away from all the stuff.
Yeah. The noise.
The noise.
And it's stopping and not... It's going back to what we were talking about in the previous weeks. The agreement doesn't come out of noise and, Lord, I need this and I need that and I need this other thing and please help me with this and we think this should happen and blah. It comes in the stillness. Be still and know. It comes in that place.
That's when it comes. Hey,
That's when you
quiet
can
voice.
actually hear what he's saying, eh?
Yeah.
If you go in with a list, you're not giving him a chance to actually tell you anything.
I don't think he turns up. I think he sends like a deacon angel. Can you go and take their list, please? 'Cause I'm not listening to that.
I'll rip it up.
Yeah, because when it starts to define it, you start to given the inheritance. You start to own it.
Ooh. When you agree with it, you start to receive your inheritance. You start to
Wow.
Own it.
Oh.
That's actually a good way of looking at it.
That's a good
And then
one.
I was also thinking about Deb's heels, and you stepped out and you got bruised heels. It all worked out in the end, didn't it? I was thinking of the
but
natural.
that is
That's quite
actually
funny.
true.
You really did have
I
bruised heels.
literally, well, that is my life. My life is
Bruised
in the
heels.
natural what God is doing to me spiritually.
Yes. Yay.
Yeah.
Okay, Bob, what do you got there? Anything?
Oh, I just saw a nugget the other day.
Yeah.
Just because you were talking about David. This isn't part of what I was going to say, but his name is Beloved, right? And then when Jesus turns up, and the David's son promising, and they thought that was like a natural inheritance, right?
Yeah.
And technically down the line it is connected. And Jesus turns up, and he goes, "This is my beloved son." He's like, "This is my David's son. This is the son that I promised." And I was like, "Oh, like the rainbow, bam, bam." And I was like, "Oh, this is my David's son that I promised."
Good, Bob.
That's a good connection.
Implanted in my head. I don't know if I had seen it before. It's probably been said before, but just stood out yesterday.
You say a lot of things that you think have been said before that I've never heard.
Yeah,
Oh.
it happens a lot.
Sometimes I feel like I'm trying to catch up, Because there's lots of stuff that's been.
Some things
Sometimes.
you are, and
Yeah.
a lot of things you're not.
A lot of things I'm trying to catch up with you.
We'll be sitting down and Hannah go, "Oh, Dad, blah blah blah." She goes, "Betty Marie knows that." I'm going, "Well, I've never heard it. I've been around a while." She goes, "Haven't you heard that? Isn't that obvious?" I go, "Not so
No,
much.
not so much, Hannah.
Everyone's got their thing they're carving out."
Yeah.
Yes.
All right, what else you got there, Boo? There's a whole page of stuff.
There's a whole page of random threads, and then I was jumping on my trampoline and listening to music, and I was like, finally! Like yesterday, I was getting stuff, and then because I was all week, I was like, I don't know, I could do this, I could do that, blah 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 blah.
I had a week
And
like
then
that.
I wrote so I was like, write it down this time, and write some random stuff down, and then I was reading it after. I was like really chuffed. I was like, phew. I got it down. And then I reread it and I was like, where's the context? What was I thinking about at the time? So I was like, I have to come up with the context. So
Please.
bear with.
Bear
Okay.
with, okay. Context coming, is it?
Well, because me and you have different, we did 2 cafe trips. Me and
Yeah.
Dad.
I didn't get included in either of them.
We would have if you were available. Yes. We would have.
We had 2 trips this week.
Yeah. And so we're different things around my mind. And I was thinking about nature. You know, like Mum's list, healing.
Wonder, healing, purpose.
I thought it was healing, wonder, purpose.
A healing, wonder, purpose, sorry.
Healing
Yeah.
under purpose.
Yeah.
So the healing should start with like the realization that it's not about laws, it's about a nature that's in you that he's growing.
Yeah, that's
Like,
good, Bob.
You're allowed to have that inheritance, and
Yeah.
you're not like, stupid laws.
That would take a little while to break that down.
But anyway, because I don't want to, because I'm trying to skip to the next part.
Okay, go.
So, one of my things that's super important, and I've always been like this, is the wonder.
Yeah.
And I was just thinking about, in context, I was thinking about the generation and young people and how to bring up people and what's the different things that have gone wrong.
Yeah.
And you're trying to take the good things from each
Yeah.
eras, like, you know how they swing the pendulum,
Yeah.
like too strict, and then they swing like no
Yeah.
strictness, and
Yeah.
I'm like, what are Christ people supposed to be doing? So kids, you're supposed to wonder, and one of my wonders was why.
Yeah.
And you're also supposed to learn yes is a yes and no is a no's.
Yeah.
But also the grace of truth with it, like give them some sort of nugget of why.
Yeah.
Because you're not trying to teach them to be law-abiding citizens. You're trying to train a nature
You're trying to
that's
train-
supposed to grow. So
Yeah.
the words of the Spirit of Truth are supposed to be in it. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always got really frustrated when I didn't even get like a nugget, just something. Even if it's like people don't realize how important honesty is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It could just be like, I'm tired.
Yeah.
And that's why like just in terms of children raising
Yeah,
and
yeah.
stuff, just you've got to your purpose isn't trying to train a disciplined, follow the law person.
No.
Because we've got out there.
That's what we used to try and do, though.
Yeah, and I'm like, what went wrong? I'm like, do as I say, no explanation. So they don't have any understanding to stand on. Like
Yeah. Good.
it's just you just have to.
Yeah.
But the no nature has been trained.
Yeah.
No
Good.
mind and heart has been
Yeah.
like taught.
Yeah.
So like yes, but then you've got the other people going, oh, we don't do no's. I'm like, yes should be yes, no should be no.
Yeah.
And then they just do explanation all the time, but then the kid just like some sort of tantrum, and then they just get whatever they want with some bollocks. The parents trying to like, so you should marry the two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes is yes, no is no. Truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're training natures,
Training, yeah.
not just a disciplined.
So you're
law.
pointing them towards truth all the time rather than behaviour. Yeah.
Truth is the grace of truth that we've been given will grow the Christ nature, God, the likeness. So then I was like, I was getting like, yes. So then I was thinking about that a lot, and yeah, then I was like, and then focusing on the why or the what or how, and that's you're pursuing truth. And a lot of people, they think their purpose is like doing stuff.
Yeah.
Need a purpose, need a purpose, need a purpose. But pursuing the truth is like the reason. You find the reason. You have purpose. Because you're finding the understanding of everything. Everything has a purpose and a reason. That's how you find the purpose. Like, you're after a purpose. And people who avoid the truth, they get to a certain point and they get the blinders on, and then they don't feel like they have a purpose. That's because they're avoiding the truth. And then the Lord's trying to, like,
because you do what you are.
You've got to be honest and let's talk about this. Like, and they avoid the truth, and then they go, "Why has my life got no purpose?"
How many people do you think spend periods of their life avoiding the truth?
I think we can all say that we've done it at some point in our lives.
Yeah.
And how purposeless do you feel?
Because I said the other day, pick an area of self-harm, and I think I said no one's going to want to. And I didn't want to, because you got to truth.
Yeah.
It's confronting.
Truth. And so there's a whole, it's been 2,000 years of Spirit of Christ spreading the earth. So we're actually all being born into the option, right? There's a whole bunch of paradigms and thinkings of truth that people are just born into, and they go, "Oh, I've always thought like that." Yeah. But it's actually the Christ paradigms and natures of thinking.
Planet's been
not
soaking.
Actually the planet has been soaking, but it does need to be explained to really like own it and get the full inheritance of it. So I was just thinking, like, laws. Okay, I thought of a stupid like example.
I don't feel like it's stupid, Hannah.
I was just wondering, like, you're after the nature.
Yeah.
When, like, you think about you raising people, you're after the nature.
Yeah.
And in America, right, you know how the more society is going kaput, the more laws.
Yeah.
Because the lawless people need more laws.
More laws.
But in like a proper functioning people of God society, they go, "Oh, is that a law?" Of course you don't do. Like, you don't need the law.
You don't need the law.
It's the nature of the person that doesn't want to do it, like, or doesn't even think of doing it.
Yeah.
And so, like.
So nature trumps law every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's the purpose. And like the shoplifting America $1,000, you can steal. The law says we're not going to come after you.
Yeah.
And then you've got like a whole bunch of young people, probably never learnt those, and they've been taught understanding of truth. The nature hasn't been growing. The option, it's there. You know how they go, they fight for the natural man, this is how man is. I'm like, that's not true for 2,000 years. There's another option. Like, before that, no other option. You have laws, you all suck.
Yeah.
You know, like, but now there's the Christ option, there's the new man. So,
yeah.
And then they just like, and then I was, because this is when I was jumping on trampoline. I watched a short clip one time. Someone was in a store and they had some items, and then people were raiding items and then running out, and he was like, and he just went and paid for like what he's picked out, because it's a shop. That's what you're supposed to do. And then I think you think, am I the fool?
Yeah.
But no, because to God, it's the nature. The law says he could just take it.
Yeah.
But the nature of the person's going, no, I'm not taking it, because someone's paying for it.
And I actually just thought, I remember we never gave our kids a curfew. We never, ever, ever gave our kids a curfew. I had a curfew that probably I never kept. But my kids, we never gave them one, because they knew that if they weren't up to anything bad, then when the party ends, you come home. Or when you're out, you don't stay out too late because you'll worry mum and dad. Or it's not safe after a certain amount of time when I'm this young. Or all the reasons why we said to them, just be careful while you're going out, because at night the unsavouries can come out and you can get hurt. Don't ever be alone, and don't go and do the next after party, because that's where everything goes completely debauched. You know, like you explained all of those things to them, but I never gave them an actual rule that said you have to be home by midnight. But my kids were not out until 5 a.m, ever. They were back at a respectful time, and even if they weren't, if it wasn't like 12 or 1 or whatever, it'd be like, I'm on my way home, we just had to drop off someone else, or there was respect there because they had learnt the why. They'd been given the why, and so
Yeah.
we didn't have to put the rule in because they already knew.
Truth is very helpful.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, like the nature, even like so the law thing. You don't want just minion law people following people.
Robots.
Because like if my parents said, "Oh, you can go out at night if you want and roam the streets," I'd be like, "No, thank you. I don't want to be a victim."
crazy. Yeah.
But like there are a whole bunch of evil laws now, and people are going, "Oh, I can do this because the law says I can do it," and I'm like, your nature is going to be destroyed over it. These
Yeah.
particular things that are happening.
There's a scripture that says, and they devise evil by law.
Yeah.
They legislate evil by
Wow.
rules. Rules will kill you. Bad laws.
And the nature links to the I ams, an
Yes.
agreement.
Well,
Because
that is the picture of the nature.
that's it.
Yeah.
And if you've got that, like if we could raise our children with I ams their whole lives, I doubt you'd have any of them
Now, see, like,
needing rules or laws.
see, this stuff you did there, this stuff we know about, when our kids were little, we didn't know any of this stuff.
No,
So we did teach them
no.
rules and regulations, different things, and we all said, "Oh, you know, you're awesome," or whatever. You talk it up, but we never, ever, ever were able to explain accurate spiritual reality
know.
to them. How it
How
says,
awesome.
bring up a child in the way he should go. Maybe show them that
Yeah.
as a parenting tool. How good would
Show
that be?
them their I
If by
ams.
the time Jesus was 12, he goes, "Oh yeah, I am those things," and he did what he was. I mean, like, we got dysfunctional generations of people,
Yeah.
including us. 'Cause we didn't know who we were.
And he sought God out in this. He sought the truth out.
Yeah,
He understood the word. So when the enemy comes for the temptation, he doesn't get tricked by the religious. He got the words of the book used against him, but he understood what they meant.
Yeah.
So they couldn't tempt him.
No.
They couldn't confuse him.
No, if only I could go back in time to all the times where I have been tormented or tempted or heard the negative speak,
That's
and
not
I
what
knew
my
all
father
my
says.
I know that's not true. I know that's not true.
See, this started with my wife the other day. I'm going, "Oh, blah blah blah," and she goes, "Well, why don't you just separate from that? 'Cause that's not who you are." And I thought, why don't you just go away? Because it's too easy.
It is.
But it's not. Yeah, it's easy, but it's not easy. But yeah, the this and half the, well, I'm not sure of the percentage, but a lot of folk in church don't know who they are.
Oh,
How many times did I still hear? Like the other day, I still heard it. I'm a sinner.
yeah,
Yeah,
we.
that's
we
been-
You're going to
don't
transfer
wrap me around in that.
next
That's
phase.
that's been so helpful.
That's not so
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. What else you got there, Bob? Is it you finished your thought? No, listen, before you finish, we wrote down a one-liner in the little diary at the cafe, and I said, "That's a gold." You made a comment about something. I said, that encapsulates it and describes it in one line.
Yeah,
I bet you that's not on that
It's not
page.
It's not on this page. Maybe
Not-
you should spend the time and think about it. Maybe you'll remember. I was also just going to point out. An aspect. Just
If I get a golden line, I engrave it on my paper. I bring it with me.
Tattoo it.
What was that?
It was so good.
Something about. Don't know.
You might need to
Okay.
pause. Is there another notebook?
No,
No,
it's inside, but that's why. That's why
I
you.
thought you would get the book and put some other stuff down there.
But that's what we learned. You write stuff down.
Yeah, you
yeah,
have to,
yeah.
eh?
Write it down.
My
Right.
brain's like a
So
sieve.
just as another aspect,
Yeah.
just for check yourself kind of aspect, or like when you're pursuing the why, you pursue it truthfully, not woefully. Why is this happening to me?
Oh,
You know, like,
you have good
there's two
one-liners.
options.
You
There's two options there.
you pursue it
One
truthfully,
is
not
the disaster
woefully.
nature, and one is the
One is-
Christ nature.
Let's all point to
Why?
someone who's
Why is
pursued
this
it
happening to
Yeah.
me?
pursued it
people-
woefully.
Because some people go, I'm always asking why. I'm always asking why.
How many fingers have you got pointing back at yourself?
I mean, like, that's gold, Bob.
Yeah, that's real good.
Oh, and so there was another thing that came up. I don't have yeah. So anyway, eventually in this transitioning phase, the first nature, Adam, the old nature, the old man, is going to go poof,
Yeah.
and there's going to be the new man. That's all the nature that's going to be left.
Yeah.
And we're like, why do we have? But there is a transition.
Yeah.
That's what we're in, because there's the options. You see.
Yeah.
Which one do you want?
Yeah.
And okay, so something else happened the other day, and it just reminded me, and I got like, okay, boil, what is it? That witch's thing? Boil.
No.
Bubble.
Toil and trouble.
Toil and trouble, bubble. Toil and trouble, bubble, bubble. Okay, and this is also what the snowflakes do. And then someone reminded me of that.
Wait, what?
Just a heads up to you people who are watching this who are snowflakes that
What are snowflakes?
Like the youth generations of the university. A safe space. Don't say anything that will hurt my feelings.
Oh, is that called snowflakes?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my
Is that
god.
like a...
Have you been living under a rock?
Yeah.
Now, just a heads up.
In a cave.
We
I was like that too when I came out. I was like, what's everybody been saying? I've just been out of it. What's going on? What's
you
been
never heard that
happening?
I've
before.
never heard of snowflakes.
I have, but different.
Yeah, there's a positive vision and there's the not so. The current culture.
Okay.
Current culture, non-positive vision.
The other
Now I've got
generation that
context.
don't know, or the people that don't know.
Yeah,
They were the ones when Micah was little and we'd go to their birthday parties and everyone won something, even if you didn't win.
Yes.
You got a present because we don't want to hurt anybody's feelings. And like when all the presents were given to the birthday person, everyone else got a present as well.
You
so
know
that
what
they
even
didn't
like,
get hurt
no,
feelings.
it's not your birthday.
Yeah.
Blah! And they're like,
Yep. So to stop that, everyone got equal of everything.
So
my God.
yeah,
It's
turns
a
out
lemon expensive exercise.
snowflake's not a powerful mental disposition.
no.
So what were you saying about
No.
snowflakes?
Yeah.
What was I saying?
I can't
I
believe you
don't
threw
know.
that in there.
Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Probably
so,
lost half their audience.
Okay, so shut down speech. Basically, that's what they do.
Okay.
And that just, okay, we've all done it, just like, and obviously we try not to do it, but it really boils me when someone shuts down your response. Now, how are you supposed to have a conversation with someone when they don't like how you're responding, so they go, no, don't say like that. And then I get real mad and think, and then they'll be like, well, you shouldn't be responding like that, but you're shutting down someone's...
Yeah.
And your response won't even be that bad if they just let you go
Carry
through
on.
it. But it boils my blood. Shutting down
Ow.
shutting
I'm
down
glad I was
response.
out of that
I'm like,
sphere.
if you don't want to be upset, well, I'll give you upset. Like, I can say something like really in your face, but
Where did this come? This is all from Beyonce on
the
your
nature,
trampoline.
the nature, the snowflakes,
Oh, yeah.
that whole like
Not allowing people to speak.
Yeah, not allowing people to speak. That's like the worst environment to learn.
Yeah.
So, you grab that mentality, that person meets the Lord. If they're meeting the Lord with all that, he can't tell them what he thinks. He
No.
can't tell them where to go and how to do it. He can't explain truth about themselves.
You're hurting my feelings.
I mean, like, that's a really...
All they can
Bad
do is
state.
have a conversation with themselves. You know, when they go,
That gets boring.
yeah, bubbles.
Yeah.
Because you don't go anywhere. You don't move.
So, like,
It's navel gazing.
I just felt like in the spirit, the enemy has tried to produce this mentality in generations so they can't inherit. That's a disinheriting mentality.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they'll never agree. Because they don't want to hear it.
Even truth about themselves.
Yeah, because it might sound hurtful. It might sound, but it's not. God never wants to hurt or destroy.
just like-
He's only ever
It's
coming.
toxic, dangerous.
But he has to get rid of the
It's-
crap.
It's toxic.
Stunted growth.
Stunted
Stunted
growth.
maturity.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
rather
not-
than just like I was just, rather than blame the great masses, see, the snowflake mentality here,
Yeah.
woe, poor me,
Yeah, it just extends the woes.
yeah, extend, oh yeah, because we say don't extend the woes.
Yeah.
It does, it's a woe extender.
Yeah, it's a
It's a
woe
woe
extender.
extender. Sounds like we've got a
You should stop it.
get a woe extender. Extender.
Oh, yeah, so I was thinking about America.
And we
Because
love
we're
it.
always thinking about America.
And we love America.
We love America.
Don't you think it's weird how
I went to
we're
America.
right wing or we're left wing, and then they're like, the bad side. We're trying to like shoot them down, but not let them do anything. I'm like, how is this eagle soaring? It can't even. You can't fly with one wing. It's a disaster. I just thought, how is the eagle flying? What's going on, people? What happened?
Turns
It's a
out,
round
I
circle.
don't
And they
think
get all
it
like
is.
happy with their one side. I'm like, you one wing?
It's like the El Salvador guy said about America. They goes, what about America? He goes, some of the stuff's pretty obvious. You don't. And like, in my defence, I've been to America twice. I wanted to stay there both times.
Same.
North
Yeah.
Carolina
I
is
love
the best
America.
weather in the world.
Yeah.
But I just did like one line, like where it's gotten messed up is, and then it's rhetoric, right? They use rhetoric. That sounds good, like laws of liberty, but they're writing laws of liberty from the wrong nature,
Yeah. Yeah.
and they're pretty horrendous laws.
Yeah. This guy from El Salvador said, he said, you find out what made your thing work, what made it great, your nation, your church, your ministry, your move. You find out what made it great, and you maintain it. You look after that.
Yeah.
And he said, so
I love that.
if that falls into disrepair, you said then all the outside things begin not to work. What made, we were talking about at the cafe, what made the society great? Like, so we're talking about, you're talking about yes and no's. I talk about my dad's generation. If my dad shook your hand and said, I'll do it, his yes was his yes.
Yeah.
Now, he wasn't unique. They were like that.
Yeah.
And so they didn't need contracts or lawyers so much because a man's word was his bond. Now, that actually made that time period, that was one of the things that made it great.
Yeah.
Because your yes was a yes. And my dad said no.
You couldn't budge him.
But if he said yes, he would do whatever he had to do to
make
do
it
it.
happen.
So this guy was saying, we're talking about America, what made America great? What were the values? What were the mindsets? What were the internal attitudes? What were the truths that made it great? You got to embrace those and cleave to those. If you lose those, next minute, ready? This is good. I'm going to land the two-winged eagle.
That's good.
And land so all this stuff, we get this, what we said last week, what I said, what you said, and what you said. And you get this, and you bring it back. If you can agree with this stuff, that's the maintenance. That's what makes the I ams make you great. They make you work. They make you fix. If you can, James says, stay. Don't forget what you see there, because that's maintenance. If you can, all those things you read out, if you can remember those and you walk in those, that's maintenance. And so this whole thing, a nation, a group, a move, a ministry, an individual, to stay in the truth, and the truth obviously. It evolves and it unfolds and it grows bigger. But to stay in truth, that's how it works. Because that says His grace and truth. And I thought, God could have used any words, couldn't He? But He chose grace and truth.
Grace and truth.
Truth is super.
So important.
To be true, the old saying, true to yourself. And in that context, it's not quite what we're talking about, but to be true to that self and for the church globally, to be true to the self that He sees, that's its recipe for success.
He gives us the grace to find our truth.
Yeah.
It takes a while. Like, it really does take a while, because you've got to unprogram yourself. Then you've got to stay quiet and still in order to be able to actually finally hear it. If you've got all the old programming in there and lots of noise, hats off if you're able to find your truth in that mess. So He gives us that grace, that period of time. We've got to recognise it. We've got to recognise what stage we're in and what season we're in. Because otherwise we miss it.
When you're pursuing truth, even if it's like painful or whatever, like you stay awake.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just got a little play on words here on a scripture.
What's
Really?
that? Yes.
Be still and know that I am God. He's the I am God.
Yeah.
What? He's everything He says He is.
Yeah.
And we everything He says we are. It's the I am. God.
I am.
Isn't that good? But
That's
you got to be
it.
still to hear it.
You got to be still.
Isn't it?
Guess what I did last night? Okay, so I was trying to find the words. I was getting all discombobulated.
That would
And I was
freak me out.
sleeping. I was sleeping, and I was like, oh, there's the line. I just got to get up, and like I've got to write it down. And then like it's not David in the cave with like like candlelight or whatever they use. I'm like, I've got a lamp. It's not flickering, and I'm like, why isn't the pen working? I tried like 4 different colours. I'm
There's
like,
a plastic cover.
this page is really, really cold. I'm like, is it so cold in the room? The ink is frozen. Like, as I'm trying to put down like deep truths, there's also a silly person going, what's going on? And I'm like scratching it hardcore. And then eventually I go,
oh, there's a
my God,
plastic
that's
cover.
perfect.
Yeah, at least you've written it off. I don't know if that should be admitted on
and then
video.
I was like, oh, there we go. I tried to wash it off. I tried to like get like the glasses spray. Erase the evidence. But it's still there.
It's etched in time.
Like, this is how
for
far I went.
eternity.
And I was like, man, it's so cold. It must be so cold. I'm really good in the early hours of the morning.
Oh, dear.
Well, I hope that has helped this morning. Yeah.
We are onto it.
I personally don't like plastic cover sheets.
No,
Yes.
I wouldn't like that
Problematic.
Yeah. And turns out you're not a morning person or a night person.
either. Well, that was middle of the night.
Are you good between 1 and 3 in the afternoon?
Pretty much. It's perfect. It's good time. It's good time.
All right. Well, that's enough.
That's it.
Yep.
Enough from you. Enough from you. Enough from you.
Yep.
Enough from you. Enough from you. Enough from you.
Roger.
You?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's always more, isn't there? But
Yeah.
like, how good is God?
God is pretty good all the time. All the time, God is good.
If I was to have a complaint and I haven't, wouldn't it have been good to know some of the stuff 30, 40
Yeah.
years ago?
This would have been good to know yesterday.
Hannah's going,
We
Dad.
wouldn't have really knew it. We would have thought we knew it.
We're talking about parenting and stuff, and Hannah goes,
Oh, no.
would have been good,
No,
Dad,
no.
if maybe you'd have
Where
been.
were you? Where were
It
you?
wasn't even like that. I was just thinking in generals. Dad always thinks I'm pointing at him.
No. I didn't take it personally, but it does make me go, oh, that would have been so much easier, too, as a parent.
Yeah.
I'm thinking of pastoring people in churches, going, why don't you just behave better and do this and do this and do that? I didn't know they didn't know who they were. And also,
But you didn't know who
no,
you
just
were.
who I was. I thought I'm pastor and you're people. Here's the church, here's the steeple.
Open the doors.
We were so illuminated.
We were so illuminated.
Well, you guys so arrogant now. Listen, my wife said the other day, we know a
love
lot
a
more.
cry.
We know a lot more now, and turns out we still know a lot less than we need to. But this is a good start.
It's a really great start.
It's a good start.
Very good.
I loved your thing.
I
if
loved
you're
it.
stalled, get a start.
Start with, I am my beloved and he is mine.
Yeah, and all the men go, amen.
You are loved. For the men, you are loved.
Hallelujah.
Yes.
All right, we're trying to say the eagle has landed.
There you go.
Good
Has
work,
landed.
Bob.
Okay, good work. Thank you.
Nicely done. It's pretty
You realise all the things we said,
It's all been negated.
all been negated, all they're going to remember is you writing on your plastic cover.
Welcome. Goodbye.
See you later.
Bye.
Oh, how about we doing a look?
Oh,
Ready?
okay.
1, 2, 3.